Well, hey, here we go, live on a Thursday night. Almost Friday, almost the weekend. It's fine. So who's here? Hello, Mega Leech, Music Vader, Dr. Abigail, Annette. Dr. Abigail, latest episode of Strange New Worlds, most Star Trek episode of Star Trek since Star Trek was Star Trek. All right, I probably won't see it till the weekend. Just one thing and another. I probably won't get around to watching it. And again, with no spoilers, I did finish watching the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and it leads me to believe that that will be it. It's not intended to be subsequent seasons, because after that season, further ones would be superfluous. Mind you, you could argue that this was quite superfluous as well, but I don't know, it was entertaining. Not my favorite thing I've ever watched, but it was entertaining. And hello, Heine. But I kind of agree with you, Abigail, that Strange New Worlds is extremely good Star Trek. Oh, and you've heard there's rumblings of season 2. Don't quite know how they justify it. Yeah. And okay, here's my humble opinion. The more there is of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the less sense the Star Wars movies make. Because, I mean, for God's sake, when they decided in the prequels to make Tatooine Anakin Skywalker's home planet, and somehow Vader never connects that the family that his mother married into have an adoptive son called Luke Skywalker. Again, that's not the family's name. The family name is Lars. But they have an adoptive son called Luke Skywalker. And Vader never finds that out. That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. And also, Leia, his daughter, and Force sensitive, and he clearly has multiple interactions with her. Like when he gets her in the original Star Wars movie and says, "You're not on any mercy mission this time," very strongly suggests he's had multiple encounters with him. And so Master of the Dark Side, Vader, can have multiple interactions with his own daughter, who's Force sensitive, and never pick up on it. I mean, I love Star Wars. I really love Star Wars, but it is extremely guilty of doing stuff because it looks or sounds cool, and if you spend 5 seconds thinking about it, is utterly fucking nonsensical. Musical Ava, you reckon the first episode of Obi-Wan was nice? Not so much. Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend. But Dr. Abigail, I get where you're coming from there. Didn't want anything to do with Lars or Tatooine because it reminded him of Anakin too much. Yeah, I feel like that's justifying really fucking stupid. Like, I was going to say lazy writing, but it's stupid fucking writing. Again, I forgive the vast majority of it because I love Star Wars, but the vast majority of the internet exists. Like, it's just about being starved for basic knowledge. And Vader being determined to hunt down Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's on Tatooine with a barely changed name. It's just like, Jesus. It's yeah, it's it's bad writing. It is bad fucking writing. It's an extremely common trope in science fiction to do something because it looks or sounds cool rather than because it makes sense. Star Trek, equally guilty of it. Like I said, my two favorite storylines that recur in Star Trek make no fucking sense whatsoever if you think about them. Oh, is sound cutting in and out for anyone else? Well, yeah, that would be the other thing Music Elevator could send thousands of troops instead. The veneer of cover. Now, admittedly, Vader has no reason to suspect that he had children until he finds out more information about Luke as an because Luke attacked the Death Star and the Force was strong with him and all that shenanigans. Yes, he thinks the children died at birth, but it's just silly. So Joe W. brought out an entire Anakin Vader conflict story in the comics. Yeah, okay. Okay, so Mega Leech doesn't appear to have happened for anyone else. The sound problem. Okay, I was going to say Star Trek. Two of my favorite recurring storylines in Star Trek make no fucking sense whatsoever if you think about them. And I agree. One is the mirror universe, the dark universe, whatever their actual correct term for it is. Whenever there is a mirror universe episode, all the same characters exist in it, except they're evil. And it's like, that makes no fucking sense. For them to be completely evil, it's a parallel universe. An absolutely different chain of events is required for them to be evil. But yet the same people end up together. It's absolutely nonsensical. Still my favorite shit they do, the mirror universe stuff I love, makes no sense. The other thing, the Borg. I love the Borg. I think they're fantastic. But it's basically the vast majority of interactions with the Borg make no sense at all. The big one that always bugs me, and okay, I'm admitting I'm basing most of my objections around the First Contact movie. I have seen some of the TV episodes with Borg, but I don't watch the TV series religiously. But certainly in First Contact, there's a big point. They can walk in amongst the Borg, like either in a Borg ship or if the Borg are taking over a Federation ship, and the Borg won't do anything to them unless they perceive them as a threat. So you have to be hostile to the Borg or they'll just ignore you. That makes no fucking sense at all because the very existence of a non-Borg person is a threat to Borg, and particularly Starfleet. And in First Contact, they're taking over. They're kidnapping Starfleet stuff. They're taking over Enterprise. By definition, anyone, Starfleet is a fundamental threat to the Borg. And the idea that the Borg wouldn't spontaneously attack anyone's Starfleet is fucking stupid. But I still like the Borg. I think they're cool. See, and you'd know that better than me, Dr. Abigail. Terrifying till they introduced the Queen. And I don't know when the Queen got introduced, and I don't know the context. Borg were going to be an insectoid species, but changed to cybernetic one for budget reasons. That's happened a lot in sci-fi. In fact, apparently, the original design for the Daleks was completely different in Doctor Who, and everyone loved this design. And then they just talked budget, and they couldn't possibly realize it. And they came up with the Pepper Pot Dalek design, which again on paper people were really disappointed with. But they did say the first time they constructed one and someone got inside it and started moving around, they went, "This is fucking awesome. I love it." Okay. Dr. Abigail, the Queen was introduced in First Contact. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So, yes. Music Ava, Earth ants kill other ants that aren't from their nest. Yeah. So that one thing about the Borg won't attack you unless they perceive you to be a threat. You are by definition a threat to them. That really annoyed me because you're obviously a threat to the Borg. And also that thing, okay, I get with phase weapons, the Borg have a way of adapting to the, you come up with whatever gobbledygook that means the Borg can adapt to that. Use projectile weapons. Fuck are they going to do? And shoot them in the fucking face. Like, maybe they can remold, their stuff into body armor. But, there's projectile weapons and projectile weapons. And shoot them in the fucking face. And yes, you could argue the Borg would eventually adapt to that. But, there you go. Well, I'm glad someone thought of it, Dr. Abigail. They introduced a projectile weapon to fight the Borg in Deep Space Nine. So was that music over the Borg Queen has to be not a single body attached thing. Imagine if you killed the Queen in a place an exactly identical Queen was created on assembly. I've never looked into it that much, but yeah. It's just like you would use projectile weapons to fight the Borg. It's laser weapons or phased weapons, they can adapt to the technology. They ain't going to adapt to a high velocity slug hitting them in the face. Just saying. Or, fucking decapitate them. It's the reliance on phase weapons that they can adapt to is fucking dumb. And for anyone wondering, not that anyone's asked, I am drinking concoction, a mulled concoction, the Archie Rose mulled gin cocktail, mixed with some spiced orange ginger ale. And it's yummy. It's an interesting, complex tart drink. The Archie Rose cocktail is quite tart and acidic. Yeah, no, Music Ada, sword fight the Borg. Just train people in decapitation moves with really sharp swords. Fucking Klingons should be able to take out Borg in a microsecond. Molotov Disco, hello. I'm being fancy. It's got some orange peel in it. I'm a fancy motherfucker. I did. I went to a little bit of trouble before the stove. I put it in a saucepan before the stream, put it on the stove, warmed it up, and it's tasty. And hell yes, musical aviator, armory, breakout swords, shields, and spears. Spears would be freaking awesome. Just train people. You're from behind a shield and the Borg's coming at you and they're freaky and strong and stuff. But, you know, a nice pylon and just drive it through their fucking face. I should be in charge of space, is all I'm saying. Also, zombies, okay? Because I love zombie shit. And yes, hello, Molotov Disco. I love zombie shit, right? And a lot of people bailed on The Walking Dead. I didn't really. And I quite liked it. But there's one thing with their little settlements where they have their walls and they semi-regularly have the problem of masses of zombies breaching their walls simply through weight. Like so many of them come and they're all pressing against the walls. Physics, the wall eventually breaks. And yeah, that's a recurring problem. You know what you do? You have every entry to the your compound by winding roads, and you have trenches dug everywhere. You basically, not a moat, trench, a series of trenches, and the road through them's not straight. The road winds between them, and you have fucking spikes in the trenches. And just, you know, when a horde of zombies come, because they're not real smart, they just shamble, they're going to get stuck in the trenches, and only a minimal number are ever going to make it through. And it would give you so much. And in fact, it would really help against humans attacking you too, that they weren't able to just come straight up to the gate. They had to sort of slowly navigate the S-bends. I saved your fucking zombie outpost. Jesus. Dr. Everett, yes, they could replicate melee weapons as needed and guns galore. Yes, railguns, size of rifle. Yes. Yeah. Something that fires. Okay, but here's the downside of a railgun. And correct me if I'm getting this description wrong. A railgun fires a solid projectile at very high speed through electromagnetic force. And in fact, theoretical railguns could fire, like say an orbital railgun cannon could fire a solid projectile down at Earth, a non-explosive projectile that would hit with such force, it would be like a missile hitting. And hey, birthday boy, happy birthday to Justin. He's officially an adult hobbit now. 33, coming of age. But see, here's the thing. So I think a potential problem with a railgun would be puncturing the hull. Like you go, pff, and if you're firing a piercing high velocity projectile, you'd rupture your hull. But they've got artificial well, again, it's the future, Mega Leech. You can build recoil absorbers. But anyway, I worry railguns would rupture the hull. But we have guns now, and what they're designed to do, they're designed for actually shooting in a building where you only want to kill the person in front of you, and you don't want bullets to go through walls and potentially kill someone in another room. They're actually soft slugs. So when they hit tissue, they fuck you up. Like, again, you shoot a Borg in the face with one of these slugs, and it's just going to punch a fucking hole in their head. But if you hit a wall, the slug actually flattens and disperses and doesn't pierce the wall. And yes, I think you're also right. Hollow points, hollow points with a soft enough metal won't go through a wall. And yeah, see, yes, okay, force fields will help, but if you're just making a bunch of hull breaches by firing high velocity projectiles, your risk of something going wrong goes up. So there are sorts of projectiles that wouldn't pierce the hull. So, but anyway, Justin, you saw Friendly Geordies, ended up with a member of the audience proposing to his girlfriend. Well, I'm glad there's no cliches happening at Friendly Geordie shows. Actually, I'm acting like I'm smug and above Friendly George. I actually watched a couple of his videos today and quite enjoyed them. So, yeah, there you go. And hello, Safa. I watched one where he was just talking shit about Australian cities, and again that was just light-hearted, meaningless fun, and I quite enjoyed it. And then one where he's shitting on Avi Yemeni. Who doesn't fucking love someone shitting on Avi Yemeni? What a gross little monster he is. Um, so yeah, the whole unmasked PR guy. Friendly Geordie seems to have a much higher opinion of PR guy than I do. Maybe because I'm not rusted on Labour tragic, but nice one, Megalich. How did Friendly Geordies react to his girlfriend being posted by another bloke? Nice. The imprecise nature of the English language. Possibly other languages have that problem too. I just don't know because I don't know on any other languages. Why would I? They're foreign. So what's that, Safa? You got email, FTC's. Oh, right. Fiber to the premises, fiber to the curb. Well, we all love fast internet. And who knows if Labour are able to maintain power for a couple of terms, which they should be. Like, seriously, if Labour don't win the next election as well, they've fucked something really badly. Uh, like, even with the power of the Murdoch media, if Labour don't form government, or at least form a coalition or a minority government, they've fucked something really badly. So, who knows if Labor can maintain at least 2 or 3 terms in government, we might actually have decent internet infrastructure by then, because we have a party that's not necessarily completely beholden to corporate interests and goes, actually, public spending on infrastructure that helps everyone in the country is a good idea. So, yeah, I remain hopeful we may actually have decent internet in a few years. It has been very embarrassing, the backwards slide in internet standards in Australia the last couple decades. That's probably exaggerated. No, more than a decade. Yeah. And I will still go back and blame some of it on Stephen Conroy for being so confrontational and alienating Telstra. So Telstra deliberately did it go slow, and none of the infrastructure was in place when Labor lost power. And so the Libs were able to fuck everything for Uncle Rupee. And if arguably, if Conroy had been less confrontational and had actually worked with Telstra, we might have had so much of the NBN in place before they lost power that it wasn't possible for the LNP to fuck it. Like, they were able to fuck it up to help corporate interests because it wasn't in place. But if enough of it had gotten in place, maybe the LNP couldn't have fucked it. Who knows? Musically, I've had a burnout. Oh shit, 5-year team left since April. God damn. 10 years in the same job. You've been changing roles. I might be taking on a permanent job. I've been contracting for most of the last 20 years. You got to convince your landlord. Hopefully they'll go for free fiber to the premises. So, tell you what, the as I was saying, that cocktail was quite tart. I'm trying to think. The ginger ale was quite nice. I might even try and make some with apple cider. Who knows? Oh gosh, Dr. Abigail, still fatigued since the weekend. Slept till 4. Damn. I mean, you were a trooper helping us put together awkward shit, physical labor, and then staying up late, which I very much appreciate and understand the difficulties. All right. Started off the night with my suave cocktail. Andrew Smokers. I got 2 new bottles from Starwood. Small batch whiskey, only 1,600 bottles in existence. 48% sticky toffee apple specialty barrel series. So this one, this is they sourced apple brandy barrels from the USA. Finished red wine matured single malt whiskey in these barrels for 3 years to get the full orchard. So this has been in apple, even after they'd aged the whiskey, they aged it another 3 years in apple brandy barrels. Beautiful floral notes of apple blossom, Starwood tropical fruits are the first aromas to come from the glass, followed by the oaks, vanilla, and then the barrel's toffee apple. It's like apple pie on the palate with ripe orchard fruits, almonds, and delicious allspice. All of this balanced by long finish, rich fruit, and cinnamon sugar. I mean, yeah, like they're probably talking crap again, like they always do. But I'm going to try it. Wait, where's the... Has this got a... Easy to open? It doesn't appear to. How do I open this? From there, by the looks of it. All right. Whatevs. All right. All right. Oh, I don't even have a little sampling glass. Get me a sampling glass. Let me just taste this at first. Which one will I use? I think the same one I used the other day. One that's labeled absinthe. Absinthe makes the heart grow fonder. All right, so I definitely have no room on the racks anymore. I have got to stop buying bottles. Okay. Drink some. Okay. Little ASMR glug, glug, glug. All right. It's a nice pale amber color. It's not a really dark whiskey. Actually, that's a better one, Dr. Abigail. Absinthe makes the heart grow fondlers. Could do that. They're saying floral. It's slightly burny on the nostrils. Yeah, okay, you don't want to inhale too much of that because it burnies on the nostrils. What they say? Apple blossom and tropical fruit. Sorry, my cough hasn't quite gone away. Actually, I had a second PCR test today because these cold symptoms won't go away. And so I wasn't sure if maybe it really was COVID. And also because young Mr. Angry said he felt sick and needed a test today. So I said, oh, fuck it. I was thinking of getting a test myself. So I took him. We both got tested. And last time, they texted me just after midnight with the result, which was thankfully negative. I expect this one to be negative too. Young Mr. Angry, not so sure. Let's see. So what does it taste like? Ooh. Man, it does have those... Ooh, it does have those appley notes. A bit sweeter than some of the whiskies, I think. A little bit of burn in this one. The Archie Rose I was drinking the other day, I was pretty surprised by how little burn it had. That has a bit of burn going down. I think they're about the same alcohol strength, about 48%. Just going to put a little bit of ice in it, chill it and dilute it. See what flavors that opens up. Because that's what we like to do. Open up the flavors. Swirly, swirly, swirly. Yeah, I don't really get floral off it. They say floral. I get the sort of fruit sweetness aromas off it. Hey, you bum fungus, how's it going? So what's that? Telstra box is copper. Sophie, oh yeah, Sandstone. So you're talking technical stuff. I don't know any of that. All right, trying the new whiskey on ice. Man, what does that taste? It's Tell you what it tastes. They're saying toffee apple. That's not bad. That's not a bad descriptor. I was thinking it tastes like artificial, like a lolly, like a hard rock candy that's supposedly fruit flavored. But then again, what's toffee apple? It's apple with a sugary coating. It actually does have that hard candy taste. And yes, Dr. Abigail, it does taste a bit like burning. I'm going to have to do my usual and make an old-fashioned with this as well. Ooh, I think I've still got apple sugar syrup in there, which would be a perfect complement for this. It does have quite bright, fruity notes to me. Again, in comparison to the Archie Rose I had earlier in the week, which for me was like dark sugar dessert, sort of like burnt sugar. Or what did I say? It was like a dessert I had that was burnt butter and brown sugar. Nice. Anyway, I am going to make an old fashioned with that. Just to see how it goes. I need my jigger for that. Because I'm a professional and I don't free pour. All right. So you got rinse my jigger out. Get an appropriate glass. Then my old fashioned. I cannot be bothered to stir it in a mixing glass. I'll just do it the low rent way and make it straight in my glass. Hardly professional like me, but then again, I'm a hardly professional. So, right. Big old chunk of ice. Put that in there. Sugar syrup. That. Okay, do I have apple sugar syrup left? That's rose. That's crab apple. What was that? Is that apple? That's grape. That's apple. All right, there's only a little bit of apple. I might use some of that up. Okay. And I think I'll use the whiskey bitters. That's not what that is. That's what that is. Rye whiskey-based bitters. Okay, so Hellion, hello, Kirsten. You missed. I did a mulled cocktail, which I finished, which was with the spiced gin punch cocktail from Archie Rose, and I mixed it with spiced orange ginger ale from Fever Tree and warmed it up, and it was very yummy. Now I'm doing the new Starwoods I got this week, toffee apple, which does actually taste a bit like toffee apple. Right. Whiskey, I'm making an old-fashioned with it because that's how I do. Yes, I like it. Apple syrup, just a little bit. And some beaters. I might chuck these bits of orange peel that were in my other one in here. And I'll treat myself with a cherry as well. Oh. All right. Got my skewer. Gonna stab me a cherry. Yes, Kirsten, I did buy the lime gin too. I couldn't resist. It just sounded so good. I haven't tasted it yet. It will be in fact, I have several barrel-aged gins over there. I might do a barrel-aged gin taste-off. See which one I prefer. Ooh, you have a cask-strength version of the gin. Nice. Icy Saracen. I am making currently an old-fashioned with my newest whiskey purchase. Small batch from Starwood that they call Sticky Toffee Apple. Justin, that's not something I put a lot of thought into. Whether it was an Afghan... Why wouldn't there be an Afghan embassy in Australia? That's a little thought I've put into it. So, Kirsten, what do we mean? Is it 1-to-1? Not sure what that meant. All right. Stir my old-fashioned a bit. Bruise that orange peel a bit. Get some of the oils out there. I often think I might be upsetting the whiskey wankers, which is always a good thing to do, to upset wankers, but they look and go, they go, okay, so you got a limited edition whiskey, and the first thing you do is make a cocktail with it. Yes, that is the first thing I do. I see, Saracen, I hear what you're saying. I don't actually drink that. Well, I drink more than a doctor would say I should, put it that way. Oh, nice. Oh, 1 of 1. Only you have it. Oh, you have the unaged version of the gin. Last 2 bottles. And it has your name on it too. Nice. Yes, so unaged, that's interesting because that was one of the things that really hooked me with this gin. And yes, even though it's that color, it's gin, it's because it's barrel aged. They call it black lime gin. Only 550 bottles, 48% alcohol. Barrel-aged black lime gin, special release just for friends and family of Starwood. I'm a friend, apparently. Our distillers have crafted a citrus-forward gin with black limes as the focal botanical, then aged it for over 2 years in used Starwood whiskey barrels to develop an inimitable flavor profile. The other barrel-aged gins I don't think have been aged anywhere near that long. I'm looking forward to trying that. I will be trying that a little bit later. I am now just trying my old-fashioned with the toffee apple whiskey. Fucking hell, that's good. Oh, man. That is really good. God damn. No, that's great. That is fucking fantastic. This is really weird. For someone who has so many whiskeys, I very rarely drink whiskeys straight. Sometimes for fun, I do comparisons. Some of them I find more easy drinking than others. Um, but yeah, then I like to try them in an old fashioned. Man, this makes a fucking good old fashioned. Oh, good damn. So the junior person kind of lost it in the Bond store for a while. Oh, do you mean this release? That's why it was aged 2 years because they lost it. Got found, tasted it, and was banging. Okay. Yeah, no, they absolutely sold me on it. It's like, oh, it looks like they've made an interesting gin. Oh, and then it was in a whiskey barrel for 2 years. That's hilarious to me if it was in a whiskey barrel for 2 years because they lost it and forgot where it was and then found it. God damn, that's good. So I think it's a combination of a good whiskey that has these apple notes, little bit of the apple sugar syrup I made, and a good quality bitters. Whiskey bitters made at the Gospel Distillery in Melbourne. So that's rye whiskey based bitters. 40% alcohol. Could probably make a fun cocktail with that instead of like a few dashes actually making like an ounce or so of the bitters. Like there's a few well-known recipes that recommend using Angostura bitters, and they usually have Trinidad puns in their name. What are the two I've seen? One was just called a Trinidad sour. One was called You're Not My Real Trinidad. There was another one that had a dad pun in it. I can't remember right now. So, Heine, you've remembered a school trip to winemaking facility. Gave you 4 unstuck bottle labels, which you kept for ages because of quality printing. It is often the case. What's interesting, they've gone so lo-fi with these limited edition labels. They're I think they're just trying to give this. We're not going to big sort of production with labels. Not that Starwood usually does, actually. But it's just like it's typed on the label because it's, very limited, handmade sort of thing. No big flashy labels. But I have to admit, yeah, nice labeling and packaging grabs my attention too. I like that, Chatrapia. I went to a winemaking place and learned how to make wine, but then I forgot how to drive. Yes. Every now and then I see something as a venue, whether it's a, distillery or just a bar or something. That looks kind of interesting, but it's a ways away and I'd have to drive to get there. And I don't want to drive to get there because I want to have drinks when I'm there. Ha! That'd be interesting, Heine. A lot of old stuff stored at your mum's. If you get it back, the labels might still be there. Be a little blast from the past. History. A little bit of your own history, which would be interesting, quite honestly. But, yeah, okay. So, this makes a good old-fashioned. I will at some point. I might do it to myself tomorrow night. I'm not doing it tonight. I might try and organise a blind whiskey tasting, just of whiskies I have, which are very, very different. And you'd reckon I'd be able to place them, but I bet I can't. I bet I get it really wrong. If I line, I don't know, somewhere 4 to 6 whiskies and just have a little dram in some shot glasses, and then try to guess which is which. And I bet I get it really wrong. Man, I'm really glad. This is not really planned, but I'm really glad I had this apple syrup to go with the toffee apple whiskey, because that has really brought out the apple flavors in both. For an apple old fashioned, kind of tastes like the strong apple brandy, bottled in bond, as they call it. It's good. It's good. I used to order a lot of stuff as a kid. I mean, so did I, but yeah, I did actually chuck it out years ago. Safa, I'm not sure you'd be popular with museums if you went, hey, here's a bunch of shit I put together when I was a kid. You should have it. They'd get everyone. Okay, absolute left field. That just reminded me of something like an idea I had once. Just a weird sort of film video project, because I haven't done it for a while. I used to semi-regularly do a road trip from Melbourne to Tubbo for family things. And if you go inland, go through all the country towns, almost every country town, even quite small ones, have a museum of some sort. And they're often themed and they're often weird. Sometimes it's just a local history museum. I remember passing one place, it was a doll museum. And so it's like a lot of these towns have a museum, and they're all bound to have a bit of weirdness in them. Like the museum at Dubbo when I was a kid, and I don't know, this stuff's probably all been thrown out since I know, but among other things they had, besides artifacts from the early white settlers in the area, they had like mutated animals in formaldehyde. There was like a 2-headed sheep and a 2-headed kitten. Just weird shit. So I had this idea of doing a road trip around Australia and stopping on all the small towns that have a museum and just inspecting their museum and finding out what fucking weirdness they had in the museum, what was unique to that collection, and what weird shit was it. And because you're also bound to find a bunch of genuinely interesting stuff as well, but also a bunch of fucking weird shit. Jim, big question. How come Icy Saracen didn't bring warm rakija in teacups? Ah, that's an interesting one. I'm assuming you meant Dubbo. Whiskey show in Dubbo. That would have been interesting. So yes, that was an idea I had, because I noticed all these towns had museums, and I thought, bet there's weird shit and probably genuinely interesting shit in these museums. Just do like a road trip around Australia, stopping in the small towns and checking out their museums and what the fuck is in them. And yeah, I reckon you'd come up with a decent documentary out of that. Jim, what? I was actually thinking, okay, because I made a mulled drink earlier with a new bottled cocktail I had from Archie Rose and some spiced orange ginger ale. I was thinking a shot of brandy or rum in it actually would be quite good. I have a few brandies. So I'm seriously considering, because there's still some of it left, seriously considering warming it up again and adding a shot of brandy or rum to it. It's a bit windy outside. There's just a gust going through the leaves in the trees outside. Okay, so yeah, this was the Starwood small batch sticky toffee apple. Quite an okay whiskey, just sipping on its own. Turned into an old fashioned with just a teeny bit of apple syrup, homemade apple syrup, and yeah, and whiskey bitters. It's very nice. Jim, okay. Here's the snob thing. Spiced. There are definitely good spiced rums on the market, but rum snobs will often tell you most of the spiced rums are putting flavors and sugars in to cover up the fact the base rum is actually not good. Um, but so there's a roundabout way of saying I don't have any spiced rums, but I don't think the rum or the brandy needs to be spiced because the other elements are. I could also put in a bit of allspice dram, which is a very nice liqueur with a very sort of Christmas pudding spice flavors in it. Cinnamon, star anise, nutmeg, that type of flavor range. Man, that was good. Okay, that was a winner. Sorry, I'm just looking at. Man, I bought way too many bottles. I think I did mention my plan the other day. I'm gonna do a bottled cocktail. Empty one or two of the bottles there. Give me a bit more space, but in fact. Okay. Why the fuck did I do that? Okay. Whatever. I really love the boozy New Orleans style cocktails. New Orleans cocktails. Okay, the classic New Orleans cocktails. Okay, I'm not going to do an absinthe frappe. I'm not going to do an absinthe one. Or a milk punch. See, there we go. De la Louisiane. That's a possible one. And I'm going to do a hurricane. Rofignac. Cognac, raspberry, and soda. No. Not so much as Sazerac. Oh, that's the other one I want. Vieux Carré. Okay, so a De La Louisiane. Whiskey, Benedictine, and bitters. A Vieux Carré. Whiskey, cognac, vermouth. That's the one. I'm going to do like an infinity Vieux Carré, I think. And I'll just keep changing. And like some whiskey, some brandy, vermouth, Benedictine. And I think I might occasionally mix it up with a bit of rum as well. So it's like 1 part whiskey, 1 part brandy, 1 part sweet vermouth, half a part Benedictine. And 2 dashes of Peychaus. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that. I'm gonna make an infinity cocktail inspired by that. Ooh, excuse me. Just had to get that out of my system. All right, I've just about polished off this old fashioned. Oof. Okay. I think I should have a little bit of water to cleanse my palate. And then I'm going to do some gin tasting, barrel-aged gin tasting. A little bit of water. How many barrel-aged gins I still have? I think I have 4. I used to have 5, but I finished one of them, I think. Put this back in the fridge. Oh, oh goodness me. Oh. A little bit of water. That's quite refreshing. Okay, now I need to get some short glasses. I think I've got 4 of these. All right, so 4 shot glasses. I don't think I really want to be sophisticated like with whiskey. I'm just going to have these gins on ice, I think. I'm going to taste this one, though, because they really enticed me with the description on this one. Okay. Come here, you. Paranoid I'm going to injure myself trying to open bottles. All right. Shit. I'm always fascinated with the heavy foil that gets used as seals on bottles quite often. The way it feels when you tear it, I find that quite interesting. All right. It's that open. Barrel-aged black lime gin. It's a little tasty taste. Oh, that first pop. A little bit of ASMR glug, glug, glug. Excuse me. So what's this Safa? It's cheaper, New South XPT than V-Line to reach Melbourne from northeast Victoria. Oh, okay. So you're saying going all the way from Sydney to Melbourne is cheaper than from regional Victoria to Melbourne? Yeah, I tell you what, rail should be more compact and cheaper. Less people on the roads would be good. This is really interesting. Okay, there's hardly any aroma. Certainly not that juniper aroma you usually get off gin. I think like the barrel has softened all that. Fucking hell, that's good. Holy crap, that's good. My God. It's still got a bit of that gin juniper flavor in it, but there's this sweetness and citrus element in it. Holy crap, that's good. Mind you, I have enjoyed all the barrel-aged gins I've tried. So now I'm going to do a taste off. Fuck's sake. Okay. Let's see. Yep, close the fridge. Have to find my other barrel-aged gins. Is this one? Brogan's Way? Barrel-aged Everyday Salvation. I'm trying somewhere to put all these bottles. I think I've got a Tiny Bear and a hemp gin. Okay, what do we got? So many bottles. So many bottles. Wait, that's one. What's that? That's the hemp gin. I'm sure I have a Tiny Bear one too. Put that down here. Right. All right. For barrel-aged gins. Taste off. Okay, so Brogan's Way. Matured in recoopered Australian Chardonnay wine barrel. So, whiskey barrel, wine barrel. Okay, 48% and 50%. Okay. Let me double check. That's the wrong bottle. This bottle. Yep, 48%. So 48%, 50%. The hemp gin. Barrel aged. 46%. Where's my phone? This one's low contrast, and my old eyes need a bit more light to actually read it. Limited edition. Matured ex-bourbon barrels. Okay. So Starward whiskey, wine, bourbon. And finally, the Tiny Bear, Ginger Bear, their ginger gin. 50%. And bourbon barrels again. So 3 of them aged in whiskey barrels, 1 aged in wine barrels. And they're all the 48 to 50%. All right. So, again, my newest one, Starward. I've got to do a palate cleanse between each. What? All right. All right, so that's sweet and citrusy. Okay, Brogan's Way. Don't know if that's the power of suggestion, but that does have sort of wine flavors in it, having been matured in wine casks. Okay, hemp gin. Oh. Wow, that's got some really interesting, like late flavors. First I was thinking, oh, that's a much more typical gin juniper note. Oh, yum. No, that's actually really good. And finally, the ginger bear. And that's got a little bit of their classic ginger heat in it. Yum. And I feel like you could combine that into some sort of a dessert cocktail, make it taste like gingerbread. What would you combine it with? Something. I think there's maybe some whiskies that have that bready, yeasty notes. You combined it with that ginger beer, and then you maybe a brown sugar syrup. Like I'd probably, at one point I was thinking you put it with something creamy and make a creamy dessert cocktail, which you could do. I thought, like, no, mostly that gin, maybe a little bit of a whiskey. Like make an old fashioned, like 1.5 ounces that gin, half an ounce of the whiskey, like maybe an Irish whiskey actually, and a little bit of brown sugar syrup, and then probably just Angostura bitters for the cinnamon notes, something cinnamon. Now I want to try that gingerbread. Holy shit, Kirsten, that's going to town. Oh my God. That's a fucking awesome idea. Fat washing with butter. Holy shit. How much of it do I have left? I'm like, I don't know, what's that, 200 mils? Holy shit, that's a good idea. Oh my God. Fucking hell. I think I'm going to do that. Shit, that's an amazing idea. Fat wash what's left of this with butter and a brown sugar syrup for a fat washed old fashioned. Holy shit. That is a fucking amazing idea. Okay, Kirsten, I'm probably going to do that. And if I do, I promise to save some of the fat washed gin so you'll visit and try it. What's the other thing I'm promising to save some? I promise to save something else if I remember to. And yes, Nettie, I agree. The weather is weathering tonight. There are some serious gusts of wind. Oh, holy shit, that's a good idea though, Kirsten. Fat wash that with butter, brown sugar syrup to make an old fashioned. I have to admit, I'm still slightly tempted to put a little bit of whiskey in there. I have to think about that though. God damn. Okay, I'm probably going to I might try and do that this weekend. Dedicate a little bit of time. Oh shit! Yes, no, the butter tiny bear. Fucking hell! What am I even thinking? I've already got that. I actually have the hot cross bun tiny bear. Yes, that was the one I promised to save. Jim, I think actual butter is the one to create gingerbread old fashioned. I tell you what, I'm a fan of these barrel aged gins. They make fucking great old fashions. I'll tell you that for free. So much character. I mean, I've got some fruity gins that I like making. Fruity old fashions. Use a fruit based syrup with it as well. God damn. All right, so that's a project for the weekend. Fat wash this barrel aged ginger beer. Oh, yum, yum. Likey the gin. It's basically talking about fat washing. Like every time I cook bacon, if it's like the streaky bacon that has a lot of fat and it gets left in the pan after you've cooked it, I always go like, I could fat wash some whiskey with that. I've done that once and it was really yummy. It was a bourbon, but I think I've got so many good Australian whiskies at this point. I could fat wash and bacon fat wash an Australian whiskey. And again, so that's like a version of a Benton's old fashioned. So yes, you want a kind of a smoky and lots of fat bearing bacon for that sort of thing. Thinking actually the way to maximize probably the fat from the bacon is to bake it in the ovens. Set the bacon on a sort of grill and have a tray under it to catch all the fat. And also, you end up with like super crunchy bacon. Although I've seen some people go the whole way and like make the crunchy bacon and like dip it in honey or some other syrup, and so then have candied bacon to go with the bacon fat wash whiskey. A little bit decadent. Certainly a gateway to an early grave, but die happy, I guess. So yes. Yeah, so it's an experiment. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen to yon barrel-aged ginger beer. It's going to get fat washed with butter and then make a brown sugar fat washed old fashioned. God damn, that's going to be good. That's going to be good. Okay, and hopefully I've been very unmotivated all week to do anything creative because this fucking cold, I've just been so lethargic. It's stolen my motivation. You can probably tell my voice is still a bit funny. But I've been feeling progressively better today, improved today. So tomorrow I might wake up absolutely fine. If you haven't seen it recently, I've been doing these videos on my cocktail channel. I've done a couple times now where I have making a cocktail called like a sporting event. I play two different sportscasters who talk to each other, Chuck Carrots and Archbishop. And they treat making a cocktail as a sporting thing, and they call it like very excited sports people. There's no way I had the energy or the throat capacity to do that this week, so I haven't done it. I'm hoping to do one on the weekend. But they could call fat washing as well. Like, good Lord, what's he doing? He's fat washing the He's fat washing the gin. He's fat washing the gin. So yes, that's a silly thing I've been doing. That's a bit of fun. So maybe I don't know if we've even got enough butter in the fridge to do it. Thinking I do a quick search. I've got a few projects now. Fat washing with butter. The science of fat washing cocktails. Fat washed butter rum. I'm not surprised someone suggested doing it with rum, actually. Okay, so jump to recipe. So 1.5 cups of rum, 115 and half a cup of butter. So that's actually only 3 parts booze to 1 part butter. So it's kind of like I'll measure it, but if that's 200 mils, they're saying use about 75 grams of butter with that. So pour it into a jar, heat the butter, Heat till the butter's melted and starts to boil and foam up. It's when liquid's evaporating. When the butter has stopped spluttering, remove the butter from the heat. Let it cool down slightly. Now they're saying add vanilla. I won't be doing that. So yes, you pour the melted butter into the booze, stir it, close it, let it infuse for an hour. And they're saying place it in the freezer. I don't know if you have to place it in the freezer. The fridge is probably enough. Yes, don't discard the butter. You can use it for brownies or for cooking. Yes, I actually did that when I did bacon fat. It did double service. Besides flavoring the whiskey, I kept the butter, and then I cooked more bacon in that whiskey-infused bacon fat. So after all the alcohol and water evaporated, when you say one, yeah, Nettie, that was Mimsy hoping Mrs. Angry was going to feed her something. Do you mean one spirit or one cocktail when you say alcoholic drink? And do you literally mean one individual spirit or one type of spirit? Anyway, I'm talking around. I know the answer. It would be whiskey, and probably. I mean, if I knew it was coming, a cocktail or spirit type. Oh, I guess if I've got one spirit, I can make an old fashioned, because one cocktail type. If I was only ever allowed to make the one cocktail, it would be an old fashioned. So I'd be going for whiskey, and it's like, yeah, if I had some warning, like all the whiskeys except one are going to disappear, I'd probably get a short list of whiskeys and do a final taste comparison. But I'd probably go with Starward's Nova, actually. It's very nice. But I'd like to, now I've got all these limited edition ones. If I could have an endless supply of them, I'd probably do a comparison just to finally decide. But yeah, off the top of my head, if there was only one, it would probably be Starward's Nova. So I could continue to make old fashions. I'd be reasonably happy. I feel confident Kirsten would go with a gin. And I know people who would definitely go for a rum. I mean, I'd be happy with any. I'd make do. But yes, give me a choice, and it would be whiskey. And I'd, yes, spend the rest of my life just making old fashions. Sorry, I was fidgeting with the foil again. I'm just twisting it. I am such a fidgeter. I do it all the time. I work. I tend to have notebooks that have heaps of doodles in them from meetings when I'm talking. It's kind of how I don't fall. It's how I stop myself from falling asleep. I've got to keep active. So if other people are talking, I'll either take notes or I'll literally just be doodling. But it's a brain activity thing. If I'm doing something, my brain is still active. Like some people get upset and say, "Oh, you're being distracted." No, I'm not being distracted. I'm stopping myself from falling asleep, because if all I do is sit here and listen to someone else speak and I'm not interacting, I'm going to fall asleep. That's just a thing that happens. So taking notes or doodling. Yes. If I had to take bets, Kirsten, that's exactly what I would have said for you. Gin to make martinis. Do you have a gin? Like if someone told you you had to actually nominate the gin? Do you know which gin you would nominate? Yeah, I mean, I was saying the thing about the limited edition whiskies, because, you know, some of the ones I've got, I haven't tasted that much, and I'd want to do a whole new tasty thing to decide which was the one I was going to have. You couldn't choose. Yeah. I think if there was some cosmic force doing it, you need to give them a short list and say, like, literally, like any of these 10, if one of these continues to exist, I'll be okay. But yeah, if some, yeah, and yes, absolutely, 100% different gins give you different types of martinis, 100%. And not to mention the different vermouths as well, for that matter. As with my freezer martini, must be up to like a dozen or more gins now. And man, the bloody citrusy vermouth that I got recently seems to be having quite the effect on it. So when I'm not gonna have any more tonight. I'm probably not gonna have any more. Yeah, it's 9:20. I'm not gonna have any more alcohol tonight. When I have a martini tomorrow night, I'll basically be retasting the freezer mix that I had the other night, and then I'll be topping up. And I was thinking I need to put serious thought into it because it's very interesting. I need something that balances out this real citrusy element that's in it now. I have to really think about what gins to top it up with to balance that. Because I do find it quite fun that each time I top it up, it's a slightly different and sometimes extremely different drink. Every now and I've topped it up and I've tasted it later and went, that didn't quite work. I need to put other stuff in here to bring it back to an equilibrium that I like. But we'll give it a go. Give it a go tomorrow night. I'll have another martini, and then I'll consider. Okay, because it was not unpleasant, the martini, but I thought, okay, this has gone slightly too far in a direction that I'm not 100% on board with. It was still good, but it was like, nah, this is not quite it. So I need to put some serious thought into what gin to put in. I think I already know. I think I'm going to need something a bit more savory. So it's probably going to be the threefold Mediterranean gin and Navy strength gin that I have. Got 23rd Street Navy strength gin. So those two, I think, will probably be the next ones that go in. And after that, yeah, maybe something a bit more herbal, like the Patient Wolf, Summertime, or the Archie Rose Bone Dry. Yeah, because I've got a couple that are more citrus forward, but I don't think that's what I need. We shall see. You know what I might even do is just a splash of the Never Never absinthe I've got. Salumi, happy Thursday to you. I'm just noticing this. Your avatar is one of the times you had very bright hair. It looks like bright orange. I'm probably going to sign up for a permanent role in the next week. I got given, an off-the-record nudge wink today, and the offer is going to be acceptable to me. So Yay, with my contract finishing on 30th June. Looks like I don't have to go back into the job market. Because what I was going to do, because the old COVID hair, I stopped colouring it 2 years ago. So this is my real hair colour now. So, a bit of the old salt and pepper type thing. But I was thinking for fun, and mainly I want to have some fun because Mrs. Angry dyed her hair bright purple and it looks frigging awesome. I was going to dye my hair. Like if I was going back out into the job market, I was just going to dye it light brown, and that was to sort of combat ageism a bit in the job market. Not that I think it's a big issue, but one less thing for people to get an idea. But if I've got this permanent job secured, I might celebrate by dyeing it wacky color. So if I use the bright purple Mrs. Angry used, or I might use this sort of burgundy hair dye that I've used before, which at first glance just makes my hair look dark. But because I have natural highlights, aka grey, when light hits it, it really picks up the color. So yes, if I do actually finalize this deal for turning my contract job permanent, I might celebrate by dyeing my hair a somewhat wackier color. Salimi and Safa trying to team up on Switch. I got a Switch last Christmas and haven't played it. Mrs. Angry has. She does gaming way more than me. But yeah, I was thinking of it, like replaying Zelda Breath of the Wild because I fucking love that game. But yeah, as it is, I'm sort of playing a Mad Max game and occasionally on the stream replaying Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's see. So Salima, you have white hair around your temples. Grey was too normal and your hair went straight to white. Nice. Yeah. So what you're seeing now, this is like my real hair color. So you can see it's a little bit salt and pepper. A lot of grey in the beard here, but a bit more color on the sides, and there's a bit more color in the moustache. But I'll color the beard as well. So we'll see. Maybe next week, maybe the week after, I might color my hair for the first time in 2.5 years. Like I said, either light brown to fit in the job market, but it does look like I'm getting this role, so maybe a slightly wackier color to celebrate I'm in a secure job. Nobody, greetings and salutations to you, sir. So it's going to be someone spoiled. Oh, no. Damn. Yeah, I'm going to have to start watching Umbrella Academy on the weekend, probably. I also haven't been watching that much TV on my own. There's set stuff I watch with Mrs. Angry, usually on Mondays and Wednesdays, and sometimes on other days. We've been churning through Stranger Things. We're into season 3 now. So we'll probably be on to season 4 before season 4 finishes, which I'm sure I won't be able to avoid spoilers for. C'est la vie, really. Oh, yeah, no, silly me. I get mad about spoilers. Fucking spoilers. Nobody. I liked Westworld because I felt like it kept going in unexpected directions. So we only got through season 1 of Stranger Things. Yeah, I mean, I have previously watched the first 3 seasons. I got Mrs. Angry to watch it, and is good. I'd been thinking of rewatching Westworld because the new season's come out. Now, okay, slight spoilers for show that's years old. Okay, it's years old, so you've only got yourself to blame. Westworld, because the movie Westworld was all about the robots in a theme park killing the humans who were there to kill robots. And so you kind of thought that's what season 1 of Westworld was going to be, a more detailed telling of the robots killing people. And it wasn't. They actually told a very different story. It was very fun. But then season 2 was about the robots killing the people in the park. But they made you think season 2 was going to be about the robots getting into our world, and it wasn't. They were killing people in the park. And then season 3 was the robots in our world, and they made you think it was going to be sort of like war of the robots versus the humans, and it wasn't. Season 4 apparently is war of robots versus humans, and so that's what I've liked. They've messed with your expectations each season. So, Salumi, booked in GP, asked for referral to sermons about yeeting the teetings. Cheaper to be referred by GP than self-referred. Okay. Whatever works. Whatever works. Yeah, sorry, nobody. Those were just very high-level things. I'm really not telling you anything about anything that happens. No, season 4 hasn't started yet. But yeah, I'm not really telling you anything about anything that happens. I was just telling you at the absolute highest, most detached level. But what I liked about Westworld is they always ended up telling a story that you didn't expect them to tell. And I thought that was really fucking clever, playing with your expectations. And I remember in the first season, because it was the whole thing about, they messed with you a bit about who was a robot and who was a human. And then late in the season, one character who you had always assumed was human was a robot. And I know there's people complaining online like, oh, I got invested in that character and now there's no point in caring about them because they're not human. And even the people who are making the show was, I think you're missing the point that we're making here. It was very clever, basically. And yes, Salumi, Tandy Newton, absolutely brilliant. She's very good. Yeah, no. Well, see, yeah. It was kind of a teaser that season, and whether it will be or not, but it's like a teaser that season 4 is the robots trying to take over the world. But again, okay, this is a season 1, season 2 spoiler. Again, the whole thing, the Westworld Park seemed to be, making the robots more and more believable. But what it turned out to, it was essentially market research. It was refining predictions of human behavior. And so it was never about perfecting the robots. It was about being able to predict human behavior. And there's this funny thing when you work out that's what the park's actually for. And then someone, like they've spent years doing this, and someone finds the room where they've got all the detail that tells you everything about a person and how they react to everyone. And the books on people are only about this thick. Like you'd been geared up to expect humans were impossibly complex and blah, 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 blah. And they were like, no, humans are super fucking predictable. Humans react within this incredibly narrow parameter. It was funny. I personally found that bit really funny, that they were gearing you up to go, they had captured the impossibly complex nature of humanity, and you expected each human to be terabytes of information. And there's no, they were printed out into books that were only this thick. Like, humans are incredibly simple and predictable. Thought that was funny. So Salumi, if you haven't seen the movie For Colored Girls, recommend it. Powerful black female cast: Tandy Newton, Whoopi Goldberg, Verita Devine. I am not familiar with that one. Thank you for the recommendation. So yes, there's lots of things to watch out there. So yeah, I managed to. We're talking about spoilers. I managed to watch the last episode of Obi-Wan Kenobi without it getting spoiled. I bet I can't avoid Stranger Things spoilers. I bet stuff gets spoiled. Maybe I'll catch up by then. Who knows? Yes, I might start watching Umbrella Academy this weekend to try and get ahead of any spoilers. There's a few things that I thought, oh God, there's probably going to be a huge spoiler if I don't watch all this. I'm doing it. Last season of Ozark, last season of Peaky Blinders. Oh, Salumi, I really enjoyed Moon Knight. It was fun. Obi-Wan's not bad. Started watching Ms. Marvel. I like the style that's done in. It's a little bit different to the other Marvel series. And of course, it's fun that it's sending right-wing bigots right off the edge. The fact that you would tell a story that centers on a Pakistani Muslim family living in Jersey just tears them apart. It's fucking hilarious how pathetic they are. It's really, really something to behold. Fucking weird as fuck. Oh yeah. I think Thor Love and Thunder might get me back into cinemas. I'd been avoiding cinemas because being in a closed space with people with recirculated air for a couple of hours was very unappealing to me. Love and Thunder might get me back into the cinemas. That looks like fun. Right, I just realised there's some stuff over there. I'll get back in a minute. You know what? I was thinking I might drink the rest of this mulled drink, but I won't. I'll actually put it in a bottle and I'll have it tomorrow night. All right. Sorry, I'm off camera. I know I'm off camera. I'm wandering. Yeah, that's a pathetic little cough. These little sample bottles, because I've got samples of things. Oh, I didn't know that, Dr. Abigail. Taika Waititi was on Colbert, Hilarity Institute. That's probably on YouTube. I'm going to have to look that up. Because he is. He's a very funny man. He's very endearing. All right, so put this in a bottle. And have the rest of it tomorrow night, I think. Or Mrs. Avery might like to try it. She had to go and pick her son up tonight, so did not drink anything. Okay. Oh yes, Kirsten, that's on the drink card for the stream, mentioning Taika Waititi. In my defense, I didn't mention him first. So yes, I regularly get little sample bottles of things, and they then subsequently come in handy for making little cocktails and whatnot, keeping them in the fridge. So I'll put this in the fridge. I might heat it up again tomorrow. Still got my mulled wine in there too, actually. I have a little bit more water, I think, before bedtime. All right. All right, all right, all right. Just put all these bottles away. It was actually quite hard to pick a favourite among the barrel-aged gins. They're all yummy, but in different ways. But yes, the inspiration of fat washing this ginger beer is definitely a good idea. Make a gingerbread old-fashioned. I'd actually have to. I don't have a cinnamon sugar syrup at the moment. I might make a cinnamon brown sugar syrup over the weekend while I'm fat washing that. So it's ready. I've got the coconut syrup that's sort of very brown sugar based, but I think like a cinnamon sugar syrup is the way to go. Oh, I haven't watched it. Is worth watching Dr. Abigail, the series The Time Traveler's Wife? And so we always mention Taika Waititi, Hosea, Rhys Darby, Sam Smith, Gender Envy, Wholesome Humans. Hey, it's all good. So you haven't been watching it? I've been watching a lot, and which is I haven't watched The Time Traveler's Wife because I've been watching a lot of other things. I'm trying to catch up, keep up with things. Okay, Dr. Abigail recommends The Time Traveler's Wife. Okay. I shall pencil it in. Might get onto it when we finish the current round of things, which will only take us a couple of weeks. Oh my God, I've mentioned this before. We watched the first episode of a British series called This Is Going to Hurt, set in a maternity ward in an NHS hospital in the UK. And fuck me, it was intense. Just the first episode was so fucking intense. We've only watched the first episode because it was just like, holy shit, if every episode's going to be this intense, it's going to be really difficult to deal with. It's very good, very well acted, just so intense. Yeah, and just the implications, because it's based on the memoir of a doctor in an NHS hospital in the UK, and it's just like, it's fucking horrifying, the pressure they're put under. Absolutely fucking horrifying. Should make you very nervous about going to hospital. And yeah, Mrs. Angry, who works for the health department here, says she gets the same stories from people in hospitals here. So it's like, okay. Medical staff overworked. I get. Okay, this is fun, Salumi. I get what you're saying. You don't love the male lead because he's played creep in a couple of things. Yeah. It's funny when actors play a creep really well and you get a bit squicky around them and think, so for when did I use a pencil in real life? I don't know. I use pens semi-regularly. It's probably not that long since I've used a pencil, simply because sometimes when I have to write something down, I grab whatever's nearby, and there are pencils around. I mean, I use pens quite often. Bum fungus, that usually just means they're good actors. You know who you have to be careful of? The people who have a sweet, goody image from their acting and performing, because that's probably just a performance. The Joffrey from Game of Thrones, he was very good at getting people to hate him. Still, yeah, a couple of actors you could be in good headspace to watch. Oh yeah. No, there's something about an actor who plays a creep really well. Maybe choose pencils for tabletop gaming. That's a good one. Oh, here's another thing. It's like the evidence Marilyn Monroe wasn't stupid is she played a bimbo way too well. Like particularly in 7 Year Itch. The first time I watched that, I was like, because you got people wanted to push that Marilyn Monroe was the bimbo and whatnot. You watch 7 Year Itch and go, okay, she's really smart because a stupid, a ditzy person can't play a ditzy person this well. It's a very good observational performance. Someone who was actually, you get a lot of people who watch that and they think that's what Marilyn Monroe was really like. And I was going like, no. Someone who was really like that could not do that performance on camera because they would be too self-conscious. Marilyn just does this absolutely brilliant performance as this incredibly ditzy character. It's very good. Safa, the available evidence is Jared Leto is not a nice person. Like Jared Leto is a fucking shithead. And there's nothing to do with him being an intense actor. Here, the story is particularly from where he's playing the Joker. It's not like, oh, he's a wacky Joker. He was a shithead. He was a shithead. Abigail. Oh, I've heard that as well. Marilyn Monroe was a slob. Oh, yes. No, God, that's the other thing. Jared Leto has an actual cult. And yes, there is solid evidence he's grooming people. They're very wrong. Bumfuckers. You talk about Jared Leto. Is he really an actor or just a guy in movies? I'll say the one positive thing about Jared Leto. There was a very funny article in The Onion, and I love The Onion, the satirical website. This is from years back, because Jared Leto was in the emo band, was it 30 Seconds to Mars or something? And then he was in a couple movies, like he was in Fight Club or not. Then he didn't do anything for a while, and then he was in Dallas Buyers Club, and he got the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. And he was good in Dallas Buyers Club. And like basically he had not been acting for years, and then he started again and gets an award for being best at it. And so this article in The Onion was, the headline was along the lines of Jared Leto says acting is super easy. And he's just like, Jared Leto going, yeah, I had not been doing any acting. I didn't do it at all for years. And then I just went, I think I'll act. And then they gave me an award for being the best at it. It's super easy. And it is funny. It also echoes a routine of the Australian or now American citizen comedian Jim Jeffries, because he fucking hates actors. And he says actors are the lowest on the entertainment, and actually actors are the highest and comedians are the lowest. And he's making an argument that comedians are better than actors, and he actually makes a good case. He's going, because they have award shows. If you're in a comedy festival, they award what is the best show. And they give awards for actors. You might have heard of the Academy Awards. And he goes, well, they have previously given the award for Best Actor to an 8-year-old kid. And I'm just here to say no 8-year-old kid has ever won Best Show in a comedy festival. And in fact, whatever your job has to be, if an 8-year-old kid can be rated the best at it in the world, your job is shit. I thought it was hilarious. Very good. All right, Slimy. So you liked 30 Seconds to Mars. They're dead to you because of Jared Leto being a shithead. Lost Prophets, Ian Walker. Yeah, they all do terrible things. See, okay, I haven't seen Dallas Buyers Club in forever, and I do know. I did know they whitewashed, rose tinted the thing. Uh, yeah, there was. But again, it was a Hollywood narrative. They gloss over stuff, they ignore stuff, they falsify stuff. I occasionally get my mind blown uh, when there's a Hollywood film that's based on real events, based on very well known events, sometimes based on incredibly famous people, sometimes, and you watch the movie and go, oh wow, and then you look up and the amount of stuff in the movie that ends up being completely false and not through mistake, like the people making the movie knew the stuff they were doing was completely false, and they completely ignore uh, some things that really happened that they're pretty pivotal in understanding the reality of the story and the person and the whole thing. And yeah, every now and then it just fucking blows my mind um, that yeah, a big movie is just utterly false. And personally, I have uh, my joke thing, and this is broadly accurate for how close it's going to be to reality. It's like, if they make a movie as about a real person or historical events, and they say a true story, that means there's going to be some attempt to stick to the reality of what happened. And okay. And then if it says based on true events, it's like, okay, this is going to be very different to the actual things that happened, but the actual things that happened are going to form the central narrative, but the story they tell will actually be quite different to the reality. And then you get inspired by true events. And that's where it's like literally, there was once a guy who won a lottery and then bought a motorbike, and that's the degree of how much the movie relates to things that really happened. So it's like this sliding scale. A true story means it's probably not completely true, but a lot of it's going to be based on a true story. Probably means more than half of what's in it is not true. Uh, Inspired by a true story means almost nothing in it is true. And yes, bum fungus, they are all inspired by money. See, again, Salumi, where is it? I have not seen the movie Stonewall, but yes, if it focuses on white people, when it was really at the center was black trans women, it's like, Jesus. Nobody's got a better offer on Discord. Fair call, bro. See you another time. I have a better offer like in the next 5-10 minutes, which is going to bed, which is a thing that will absolutely happen. We'll come back maybe for a bit of a party night tomorrow night. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Certainly, I think about the last month or so, the Friday night streams have been getting shorter, which may be reflective of I'm old and staying up that late is quite punishing. So, yeah. I don't know if this is just a question or if this is a straight line for a joke, Kirsten. What does the P stand for in Marsha P. Johnson? Because in short, in the real world, I don't know. So So again, because that's a a name Marsha took on for herself, the P might not stand for anything. Okay, stating that the P stood for pay it no mind. Sorry, I just looked it up. Yeah, pay the bitches no mind. Yes, bum fungus. I was fond of that one too. Homer J. Simpson stood for Homer J. Simpson. But yes, you all put it up there while I was looking it up. The P stood for pay it no mind. That's the thing when you take on your own name. Can mean whatever you want. An interesting one along those lines. I found this when I worked at Lonely Planet. People who were writing about traveling and even living in other countries, and I think it was an Anglo-Australian who relocated to China. And this is not unique to China. There are a couple of uh, East Asian countries where this is where you can take on a name as an adult that actually means something. And so this guy, when he came to understand the culture better, he could take on a Chinese name, but something that meant something and defined him. So he was essentially redefining himself as a person and having a name that communicated who he was. Good on you, Slimmy, talking about your name. They say it's how you spell Sir, and you say it was Old Norse, not Italian. There you go. But yes, so there are lots of reasons for people to define their own name. Uh, there are there are various sorts of transitioning. Yeah, as I said, this guy who was living in China was literally just transitioning to a Chinese name, but it was a name that he felt defined who he was, and he felt that uh, he was a different person when he took on this name. And he was more himself, which I found really interesting. Justin, a random question. What do you tell a friend who won't tell his girlfriend he's bi? Bye, bitch. I mean, no, life's complex, but I am extremely cautious about being drawn into other people's dramas because it can just make your own life much more difficult. Oh yes, not understanding how the Irish language has incredibly different pronunciations to Anglo English. So yeah, Neve is, and Siobhan is actually Siobhan. Um, and yes, that is also a good point, Salimi. Never out anyone. And yeah, if they're not out to their partner, ask them why they don't feel safe enough to be out. Because yes, that relationship might be damaging to them. As tempting as it can be to out people because you think it's important that they're being true and blah 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 blah, it's a creepy and awful thing. Yes, and that rising star whose name looks like it should be pronounced Cerise, and it's actually pronounced Saoirse. Yeah. Irish, it's a fun language. and the English tried to destroy it. They didn't quite succeed. Um, but yes, I remember when I was a lad, and I forget which band it was. It might have been Bananarama or something. One of the women, her name was Siobhan, and I thought she was just being a wanker. Same as like Sade when it's spelled Sada. It's like, why are you being such a wanker? And at a certain point, you realize that's this real fucking colonialist mindset that the language I was taught is the only language that exists, and every other language must conform to its conventions. Like you think you're keeping it real, but you're actually got this weird colonizer mindset. Yes, Salumi, the Irish, Scottish, and Welsh languages, are, I think they all count as Gaelic, and some people wrongly say the Irish language is the official name is Gaelic. It's Gaelga. It's Irish, and Scottish is Scottish, and Welsh is Welsh. I think as an Irish friend described me, Gaelic is the culture, Gaelga is the language. Yeah, Justin. Okay. Well, if you're interested in helping him, yeah, then I think Sulumi hit the nail on the head, asking them why it's difficult to be honest about that, because the relationship might be quite dangerous and toxic for them. We can all be a bit comfortable in relationships, or it feel too hard to do anything about it. But if the relationship is making you feel compelled to deny something or to not acknowledge something that's intrinsic to who you are, the relationship might be a problem. It might be bad for you. But having said that, big heavy, I'm going to sign off because I've got us to, it's after 10 o'clock now. So I think I need to retire for the evening. And if you're at a loose end tomorrow night, could join up for party night. Go wild, go crazy. Woo! Who knows? Yes. So anything could happen tomorrow night. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But I'm going to depart from you, and I might. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? Could be wild. Could be crazy. Anything could happen. Anything could happen. Mouse Kitty surprise day. But you'll take care. I will hopefully see you another time. But